Hello and welcome to episode 4 of BassPush Interviews in conjunction with the Wadbag, an online magazine based in Bristol covering everything underground. And today we have a young up-and-coming D&B producer and DJ from Plymouth. He's made some serious strides in the last year or so with releases on Fearless Audio, Amen Syndicate, Just Jump Records, Sloppy Brain, and features on the Southwest Network, Wonky Goose Audio, and more. We're super excited to have him on. Please welcome Pandi. How are you, my man?
I'm all right. Are you good?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. So we just kind of wanted to chat about, your music so far, your musical journey so far, from like way back at the beginning all the way up until now, and also your future plans. Also like to talk a little bit about how COVID has like affected your process, if at all. We've had some people where it hasn't affected them at all with their process. So but
That's pretty mad.
I know, right? Like for me, it's affected it very positively. I've got so much that has come out in the last year compared to like previous years. But yeah, let's just jump straight in. So how did you find the scene? How did you get interested in drum and bass? Was it drum and bass from the very beginning, or was there other genres that you got into?
This is actually quite an interesting one. So when I turned 18, I was a little bit of a madman. I'd go out all the time, go out drinking with the boys and all of that. I came across a club called Mambo's in Plymouth. And that is where I come across jungle tech, jungle, and all of that kind of mad stuff, like all the free party kind of music. I started off there, and I was like, oh yeah, this is all pretty cool, loving the rave. I thought, why not become a DJ? Me and my mate, we were sat in his room after a night out, and we got SoundClouds up on his Google Chrome, and we got like another app. It was like Bandcamp or something. We were trying to mix tunes doing that. It was hilarious. Obviously, it wasn't in time or anything, but we were too fucked to care. We were like, oh my god, my bass lines.
Yeah, right. I know people that have done that with YouTube. Where they're just like closing things down. Yeah.
So started off like just messing around like that. I ended up getting a set of decks soon after. It's a Newmark mixed track quad, and I was into playing bassline at the time, so I was trying to do like 4-deck bassline mixes, and it was like it was sounding pretty gash, but we got there in the end. I recorded a couple mixes, and I sent them out to a factory in Plymouth.
Oh yeah.
And within 3 months of me starting to DJ, I started playing in factory just straight off the bat. Took my controller in and was doing sets in the room too.
Nice.
Yeah, and from there, Pirate Studios opened in Plymouth, and they were doing a month's worth of free sessions. Me and my mate Alex, we went and we booked 60 hours. Never used CDJs before, but by the end of it, it was literally something else. Like I never wanted to let go of them from that point.
Yeah, it's weird when you make that transition. Like I started on some Newmark 1520 belt drive turntables that were just god awful, man. Trust me. And then making that step up to like digital. How did you find that? Did you find going from like a Newmark mix like controller to like actual CDJs? Did you like kind of pick it up straight away, or did it take you a while to get used to like the difference?
Well, I was in the middle really. Like some things I couldn't wrap my head around, so I was just trying to get a decent sounding mix, making sure everything was like in time and all of that, just making sure I was doing the mix right. And then as time went on, I was starting to like dabble with FX and like trying to do transitions and stuff like that. Yeah, and that was pretty mental. First, like, well, that month of going into Pirate Studios, it was just a mad jump up session. It was pretty mental.
That's pretty cool though. So are Pirates still in Plymouth, or have they disappeared now? Or
no, Pirates still here. they expanded their studio a little bit. So they started off with one DJ room, and they were using the same codes all the time. So people would just come in and out when they wanted without paying for sessions.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. You'd be like halfway through a session, some guy would kick the door open and be like, "It's my turn." You'd be like, "No, I've booked for the rest of the hour. Piss off!" Like, yeah,
Useless.
they opened a second room and they like upgraded the whole studio, and it's pretty neat down there now.
Nice. When was the last time you went down there? Have you managed to get down there during all this lockdown stuff?
Well, in between this lockdown and the last one, me and my mate decided we were gonna go get a bit drunk, go down Pirate and have a jam, and I got like too pissed and ended up almost falling asleep on the sofa down there. I was just looking at him like, "Yeah, you can DJ that." I'm just two rags.
So
Mistakes were made.
So from there, I think you got a residency at Factory, didn't you?
That was sort of recently. So with Factory, I was just in and out. I was like hitting up the local labels. I was like, give us a set, here's a mix, give us a set, please, please, please. You know, as you do, being like the new guy that nobody really knows. And as I've been in and out of Factory more and more, well, one of the guys who owns Factory was like, "Do you want to be a resident?"
That's ideal.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it, and there ended up being like 4 or 5 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Darth Vader, Maddie V, there's a couple others as well. There's Corbex off of Revolution DMB.
Right.
They've also done bits for me. They have.
Awesome. So just quickly, whilst we're on the idea of, you know, finding sets and things like that, did you find that when you started producing that kind of helped with finding sets and you know, just generally getting your name out there?
No, because with all of my production, I've always kept quite quiet with it. I just keep it to myself. I'm not quite public because I don't know. I'm just not really good at talking to people and get myself out there.
Right. Okay. Well, hopefully this can help you out with that a little bit.
Really hope so.
Yeah. Well, no, you're doing really good so far, man. So, so you know, with Plymouth especially, you know, their club scene has been hit hard over the last couple of years. So talk me through a little bit about how that whole situation has affected like the whole scene down there.
All right. So there was Mambo's, the club that I mentioned at the start. Within a year of me turning 18, Mambo shut. So all of the jungle, all of the like hard tech, all of that, it just disappeared because everyone would be going to Factory for like bass line and drum and bass, but they weren't keen on the tech or anything down there.
Okay.
So all that kind of scene just disappeared and like moved up towards Bristol.
Yeah, I used to go to Voodoo Lounge a little bit. That might be.
That's where Mambo's was.
Is that Mambo's? Is it?
Yeah, so Mambo's was Voodoo Lounge previously, but they closed and then obviously reopened and then closed again.
Yeah, that venue's cool. That venue's really cool, but it just seems to always be in and out of opening, and that's a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be opening again.
No, that's a shame, man. So what have you got down there now then?
Oh, we've got Factory. We did have the Hub, which also disappeared within the last 2 years. I'm pretty sure Crash Manor might be going as well, which is the club by Union Street.
I've heard good things about that venue.
It's all right. I mean, I've done my fair share of sets down there. I'm not a big fan of the decks, but
no,
yeah, it's all right.
So if you,
unfortunately,
carry on, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, Factory brings in the crowd, and if you do Nightstand Crash Manor, people aren't too fond of it because of like the location.
Oh, okay. Well, is it? It's
dodgy area.
Is it quite far out of the centre? Or?
No, it's not like too far out. It's just like Union Street in general in Plymouth. Like people just think it's a bit of a dodgy area. Like Stonehouse, like it's on the edge of Stonehouse. Yeah,
I find that really funny because when you think about like Bristol, just like every street there is a bit dodgy, and yet there's clubs all over the place that everyone's just like so willing to go to.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is with Crash Pad. It's just one of those clubs. Is you go there, you enjoy it for a little bit, and you just
Yeah. So if,
after a while.
have you done many sets outside of Plymouth?
Well, I've done a couple sets for Wonky Goose in Bristol,
Okay.
and I won a competition to play a set for Revolution DMB when they did a night in the Swan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first ever set. No, second even. My first set was in Take 5 in Bristol.
Okay.
Yeah, outside of Plymouth. And then I've done a couple sets in the Black Swan. I've played sort of local. I've done Launceston. I've played in Millbrook. These are like
Launceston has a club.
Well, it doesn't actually.
I was gonna say.
Well,
shout out to Tweaker, the only person I know from Launceston.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant. No, what is it? Therapy DMB?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So they did a night in this pub in Launceston. It was fucking hilarious. We had
I
like
bet.
we had Jack the Ripper down, and it was sort of like this like little conference hall.
Right. Okay. Well, like a
Yeah.
village hall type thing.
Yeah, we set up like a rig at the back. We had one of the DJs bring in a set of CDJ 900s, like Nexus ones.
Nice.
And I did a back-to-back set and ended up getting so drunk that I got kicked out by the time it was Jack the Ripper set.
Oh god.
he got on decks as I got kicked out.
Oh, Pandi.
So I'm just like, I'm not that fucked, I promise.
I had a similar incident with High Contrast. I was meant to support him in Exeter, but I wasn't in a good frame of mind as it was, and should never have gone to the night in the first place, to be honest with you. But you live and learn.
Oh, no, that reminds me. I did a night in Torquay, which actually got me the set in Launceston.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played in the Attic.
Okay, yep. I've heard really good things about that venue. It's a
Yeah.
venue I've yet to go and see, though. I'll be honest.
That is a wicked little club. But so I got a lift up there from a couple of guys in Plymouth because I was doing a back-to-back set with the same guy that I back-to-back with Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
And we had MC come along. It's called Tricky, the guy who runs therapy.
Okay, cool.
He come and like picked us all off. He's like, yeah, you want to do this? But when it come along to my set, this girl, she come along and she gave me like half a pill. And it was 5 minutes before the end of my set, and I'm like, bro, just finish my set.
Yeah, right.
I just threw up all over a bench, and I had to sit out there for the rest of the night. It was so bad. We live and learn, though. Like
yeah, that's it, isn't it?
I'm past that stage of being a mess now.
Yeah. So back to your journey with music. So you say you started off with bassline.
Yeah.
When did you make the step over to drum and bass, and was that kind of linked with you doing production, or was that kind of before the production came along?
Well, I started off with bassline, and I was playing a bit of jump up at the time as well. Like my mate was liking the drum and bass, and I was liking the bassline, and I was chopping and changing, and then I started veering more towards the drum and bass.
Okay.
And as time went on, I just put the bassline to one side because I like the faster vibes.
Yeah, of course, man.
Where production comes in, it's a bit towards the end of the bassline patch. I did try making a bit of bassline when I started, but it just didn't work.
It's one of those things where, like, I started off with bassline as well. It's the kind of thing where, like, it needs to be played at a party. Like I can't think of any better way of doing it. But I was speaking to Ali Monson not long ago, and he was saying how like his production back in the day when he was making bassline for free parties was like really piss poor, but like just the vibes of it coming out of a speaker, out of a sound system, like it's not listening at home kind of music, is it? For sure.
No, it's not. Yeah, with bassline, there was a bit of a split between. So you had like obviously SWB and all of your like dirty, gritty kind of bassline, and then you had this like UK bass which just started popping up.
Mm.
And when that started popping up, that's when I kind of went off it because it was starting to sound samey, and everyone wasn't being so creative with it.
Yeah,
Whereas with drum and bass, you've always got like people coming up with new ideas left, right, and center.
that's it. I
Yeah.
found that with like UK bass and things like that, it's really started to bug me recently in the last year or so when people were putting up a UK bass track and labeling it as bassline. So I'm there like, oh, well up for listening to some bassline or whatever, and then it's just like just some standard UK bass house, which is just a bit like just lacking a little bit for me. So did you so in terms of like your how you got into it, you say you got into it through Mambos, but did you ever go to like free parties beforehand or anything like that? Or?
No, I didn't actually. I've only ever been to like two parties actually.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them I got my mate to give me a lift to. It was out near like Minehead in this little car park. It was really sick.
Oh, I know the exact car park. It's so
Yeah.
windy up there.
Yeah, but it's
So
got
windy.
like that giant bank around it.
Yeah.
Just sit at the top of it and have a smoke while everyone's down there having a rave at like 6 o'clock
That's
in
it.
the morning.
I remember going to there once, and for some reason they just couldn't get the decks and that working, so it just turned into a SoundCloud party. Like,
Oh no.
and it was like so windy, man. It was so windy. Like even if you were like in front of the system, you could still struggle to hear anything because it was just like so much wind all over the shop.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, right. So yeah,
Well,
carry
the
on, man.
only other party I went to was Boxing Day at Cadover Bridge. Did you hear about that one?
Was that the snowy one?
No, I think it was not this Boxing Day just gone, but the year before.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. I went to that one. That was that was a mad one. That.
Yeah, it was a multi-rigger. It was like 4 different sports and like.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was really nice. That was probably one of my favorite parties of that year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was the best party I've been to.
Absolute vibes. I think you had like Abortion Audio, TFA.
Yeah, I remember the TFA rig. It was fucking hooning.
It really was. They had Barnhorn there as well. Shout out!
I played on Barnhorn.
Shout outs to Barnhorn. Shout outs to Ryan Townsend every time.
Yeah, I played on Barnhorn up at the Swamp when I won that competition. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
What is it? I turned up at 11:30. I only had one USB, but I needed 2, so I had to stand downstairs and sort out a USB, which I'd like nicked off some random geezer. Used his laptop to set it up. I'm just like, yeah, fucking have all of these tunes, and I'll use this USB, and we'll play my set upstairs. Got upstairs, the mixer's broken as well.
Oh.
So you're like trying to cue a track in, and as you're trying to cue it in, it's like coming through the speaker as well. And you're just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, God's sake. The one set I've played at Swan, I can actually like really remember. I had to play like the first half of it without any headphones. It's a pain in the ass, man. Like, sending my mate round Swan to get some headphones. Yeah, if you've got the I think these were like 900s or 1000s or something. They didn't have the waveform or anything like that, so it was like proper bodge job. So in terms of your production, when did you get your first tune signed? And who was it for?
I'm pretty sure the first tune that I put out was with like Amen Syndicate, and it was honestly like one of the worst things I've ever made.
Shout out to Byron though.
I don't know what Byron's up to these days.
I haven't spoken to him in a little while. I'm hoping to get him on for an interview at some point.
Yeah, I went to college with him, which is how I ended up coming across it.
Yeah, I've known
Yeah.
Byron for a good amount of years. So from there, did you find that you were kind of signing tunes left, right, and centre, or has it been one of those things where you've kind of gradually leaked them out to the kind of people that you want to be releasing with?
Well, I initially started by like putting loads of mixes out
Okay.
and just trying to get myself out there as a DJ, and I wasn't too fussed on getting my production out there because I wasn't happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah, and over time I've just tried like doing bits and pieces with my production to get it better. But I've been keeping it to myself because every time I like listen back to it, I'm like, oh, I could do something better with it, and then
The
I
constant
just end
struggle of
up
an
not
artist,
finishing
eh?
it. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
li- I
or I'll
listen
get
back
loads of
to
tunes done, and
that's it. I listen back to like a lot of my old stuff, and I'm like, God, I just want to delete it.
yeah.
So the first time I remember hearing about you was just before we released that EP with Sloppy Brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how did you find, you know, going from just kind of making tunes to signing them, releasing them? Did you find that like nerve-wracking or?
It was a bit because I'd be trying to finish up a tune and then I'd listen back to it and it would like the mix down would be really bad or there was always something that was holding it back. And
Yeah.
I'd be trying to like sort it out, make sure everything's like working perfectly, and it just stressed me out so much trying to get things done like quickly and making
Yeah.
it all sound good.
It's one of those things that I think you really do have to take your time. Like that was my issue at the very beginning of my productions. I'd bash it very much like with you, like you were saying the other day, that you'd just have FL open constantly, and
Oh yeah,
wouldn't be
those
able to do
days.
anything until you'd finish that. I
Oh
did that
yeah,
for
those
about
were the days.
I did that for about 3.5 years, I reckon. Oh man, and I just like yeah, I regret releasing a lot of the stuff that I did when I started out. So you started off on FL, and
Yeah.
what are you using these days?
I am using Ableton 10.
Nice.
Um,
How did you find the transition between the two?
well, initially it was a bit of a head spinner, but after about a week or two, I just got used to it and I can use it without even thinking about half of what I'm doing now. I'm just like bosh through it all like it's second nature now.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have noticed a real like upturn in your production quality in the last like 6 months or so, especially all the bits that you send me just sounded so fresh, man. So I've got to pick you up for that.
Thanks, man.
That's all right, man. So in terms of like where you want to go from here, obviously we can't get into clubs just yet. I did read earlier that they're hoping for like August. But where would you like to go in the future? Is there any like nightclub or club nights that you really want to play at or anything like that?
Well, I haven't got any like set destination. I just want to go out, enjoy myself, play some good music, and
Yeah,
I'll start off by going into factory and just letting everyone know that I haven't gone away. I'm still here, and I'm still
yeah,
going to tear the place down,
that's it.
and see where that goes. I mean, I've got Dylan and Wonky Goose up in Bristol. I've got some like sets that were booked before COVID that have just been like hanging about waiting for
Okay.
when it's all over, so we can go out and do it. Like,
So is like Wonky Goose? Let's just touch on that quickly because
oh yeah,
they're absolute boys, and their growth over the last year has been absolutely insane.
I
What
played that first night. It was
did you?
brilliant. Yeah.
Nice, nice. What were their nights called? The Wonky Swan.
Oh, the Wonky Swan. Fucking hilarious. There's so
Shout
much
out
I can say
Dylan every
about that
time.
night.
Shout outs Dylan and Ben, absolute dons. Have you heard any of
I tell you what, if it wasn't for Ben, I wouldn't know anything about Wonky.
really? Touching on that, have you heard any
Yeah.
of his like recent productions? He's stepped it up.
Uh, yeah, I was listening some stuff earlier when I was talking to you. Actually, he posted some clips in the group chat of he posted like 4 different clips of like the same tune, but he was messing around with the synth. And the last clip, oh my god, you'd think like he'd just got Bruto making it for him. Like
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't
he
it? Like,
goes places, man.
yeah, his progression has been pretty insane. I remember when I first started speaking to him, I think he was just starting out, and it was still good then, don't get me wrong, but just like to see the progression of some of these like local and like young producers is really good.
Yeah.
And I definitely include you in that. So with your tunes, what kind of inspirations are you picking up on at the moment?
I just listen to music that I like. Like,
Mm,
you get people like E&I and TI and Upgrade, and I'm always like listening through their music. I'm always listening to like mixes on the way to work. But while I'm listening, I'm always picking out like little technical things.
okay.
Like, there's a thing that E&I will do where he'll filter a break as it's coming up with some kicks,
Okay.
like to break up in between different sections of the song, and I've figured out how to like sort of remake that myself, but do it in my own style.
Yeah. I think that's really
Yeah,
important when you're trying to pick like use inspiration is to put your own personal twist on it at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, fully. So
It's like,
we'll carry on.
yeah, some other people, well, like I mentioned, Ti as well. Like, he'll put like little shuffles towards like the end of 16 or something like that,
Mm,
and I'll always like picking up on little bits and pieces. Like all the hidden away stuff that most normal people wouldn't hear. I'm always listening out for that.
yeah. Are you one of those people that when you go to a club night and there's like a slight little bit of like a mess up by the DJ, you're there like, oh, whilst everyone else is still going
Yeah.
nuts.
No, I'll hang my head in shame for him.
I know. Definitely, man, definitely. So have you got any labels? Do you really want to like get some releases on? Is there any labels that are really like jumping out at you at the moment in terms of what they're putting out?
Well, initially when I started, I was trying to get a release on Gyro Records,
Okay.
but I've sort of leaned away from that now. I kind of want to just get my production to a point where it's a really professional standard before I like send it out and about it and get myself on loads of labels or whatever.
Yeah.
But if there's anywhere I do want to go, it would be like Born on Road, Deep in the Jungle.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who else. Biological Beats would be a good one,
Hmm.
or Audio Addict. They're
Yeah.
all a bunch of good labels, yeah.
I think they'd all suit your music as well, to be honest with you. You've got that like kind of, especially Born on Road, you've got that like kind of ragger influence side to it, which I think is really cool. So what simps are you using mainly at the moment?
Well, I started off using Massive, and I bear in mind, most of my production self-taught. I
Mm.
did like a year in DBS, but while I was there, I was somewhere else basically.
Yeah, I feel you.
I wasn't paying too much attention. I'd like just do my own thing. I'd be like on Facebook during lessons and that. And I wasn't really paying attention because I was just a youngster and I was just there to like muck about and whatever.
Yeah.
But
So what are you using now then? So you started off on Massive. How did you find that?
Well, it was a bit of a head fuck to start with, but
I never got my
just
head around it.
no, I just started messing around, seeing what like different oscillators made different sounds, and
Mm.
at first I wasn't too fond of it, but getting into it, I like really got all the little intricate parts like nailed. Now I know what they all do after
Yeah.
just like messing around and twiddling with different bits and pieces.
It's such an extensive synth, isn't it? You can do literally so much with it. But if you don't understand all the little bits, you can do absolutely nothing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just making pure noise.
Yeah, exactly. So have you tried any other synths or is it mainly just
Well,
Massive?
I was using Massive up until about a couple months ago, where I decided I'd buy serum on Splice because I've obviously in work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've dabbled with serum a little bit, but I was stuck to massive because that's what I know now.
Okay.
But as you found out earlier, I'm starting to get more and more into serum.
Yeah, we have got something exclusive that we're going to show off in a little bit that Pandi sent to me this morning, which is sounding very fresh. So let's talk about COVID just quickly. Let's just touch on it yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But let's just touch on it. So how do you think that's changed your process? Obviously, you say that you're working at the moment. So obviously, does that mean you've got less time for making music or?
Right, so pre-COVID, I was a drug-fueled mess, and I was going
I love
out.
the honesty, man.
Yeah, I was literally just going out doing whatever I could get my hands on, playing sets, and it got to a point where my DJing slowly started declining because I was too messy half of the time.
Mm-hmm.
COVID comes along, I'm like, well, can't get hold of any of that anymore. So
Yeah.
I decided to bin off drugs completely and just smoke. I don't really see smoking as like drug taking as much, but
Yeah, if you're careful with it.
yeah. So I've initially I stopped was just smoking after that, and I started working at Amazon in July.
Okay.
So it was a little bit after lockdown. I had like a month or two to just chill out, stay at home,
Yeah.
save lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Shout out Sheffy B for the opportunity.
yeah, working at Amazon now, and because I didn't have a job previously, because I was out being a mess all the time,
Mm.
having a bit of money to hand has helped so much. I mean, I've invested a lot of money over lockdown in buying music rather than like
Just.
getting all the free downloads and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So that's cool, man. That's cool.
it's really good. So I can play most of the fresh stuff that's coming out as and when, and just having a little bit of money helps the whole DJ production thing move on a bit because I can like get better things and better music to play and all of that.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it, man. Fully. So if you found that despite having almost less time to make music, the time that you've got making that music is far more rewarding.
Yeah, to be fair, because like I said, I am working night shifts, so I do spend like half of the day asleep.
Mm.
But like before work or something, I'll spend like half an hour just like building some drums or whatever. And although it's not that much time, I'll come back to it afterwards. I'm like pretty happy with what I've been doing, and
Mm.
I am taking my time to try and perfect everything rather than getting loads done. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Spending time over with the little bits as opposed to just like getting it down and then just kind of just releasing it, because I feel like that's what a lot of people tend to do when they're starting out. They just kind of chuck it down, get it out, and then take it from there. So it's good to see that your process is like, sounds like it's been affected more positively than anything else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gutted about the fact that we can't go out and play sets, but the fact that I can stay in, and the fact that I'm not doing drugs, and the fact that I can like really focus on like making music now is really good.
Yeah. And to be honest, you can tell that you are being more meticulous. Let's talk about your process as a whole. When you're sitting down to start a track, do you have what you want to do in mind, or is it something that you just kind of take as it comes?
Well, I'll just crack it. If I want to make like something from scratch, I'll crack open Ableton. I'll layer up like what 5 or 6 kicks, 5 or 6 snares, make them sound sort of groovy, and then just go from there. Build up the drums first, make something groovy, and then I'll make the bass fit that rather than making the tune around the bass.
Yeah, I
You know
feel
what I
you.
mean?
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
So have you done many like remixes and bootlegs? What's your process when it comes to those kind of things?
Oh, actually, I've got a release on Off Me Nut.
Have you?
Yeah, I did a remix of I can't remember what tune it was.
Oh, was this with their remix pack competition that they
Yeah,
did?
they did the remix competition. It was Bruto that I did. I did D&B remix of it.
Okay. Should we?
Yeah,
I'll get that lined up as well. Then we'll give that a play if you want.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, I did that, and I'll do like occasionally try and do like a bootleg here and there, like the one that I sent you this morning. But I'm not too big on trying to like remix other people's stuff, like D&B wise. I'll just go out of the genre and
Yeah,
like,
I find that's the best way to go. I've been really digging the like R&B bootlegs that have been popping out over lockdown.
oh yeah, speaking of that, actually, I don't necessarily go for D&B samples when it comes to making music. I'll try and get sample packs from like every genre. So I've
Yeah, I
got
feel
like a
you.
bit of house, I've got a bit of trap. Trap is really good for snares.
Yeah,
Get
and their
some like
and their hi
really
hats are
like
dope as
picky.
well.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
trying
I always
to.
like try and always try to keep myself outside of the box.
It's the best way to be, man. Sorry, I'm just trying to find your Bructo. I found it. We're good. Should we jump on and show some of this music then?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Cool, man. So we'll start off with the off minute one. Cool. So can you see that all right?
Yes.
I do. Jump it forward a little bit. So this is Pandi with Bructo. Who's the original artist? Do you know?
Squire Gothos.
Squire. I was just trying to think what SOG would be.
Yeah,
Squire
Squire
Gothos.
of Gothos, yeah.
Man, I just remember their track Triple Drop. What a tune. Right, let's jump in then. Can you hear that all right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's not the best quality coming through, but I made this when I was like really starting to dabble with like massive.
Okay.
Like when I'd like really got my head around it, that's where all the like wobble basses come from.
I was going to say I really love that because it almost it keeps within what Squire Gothos is all about. Then wobbles,
Yeah.
then square waves. Like, love it.
Yeah,
That's really fresh, man.
that square bass actually, what I did to make that is I chopped it, their warp bass, I chopped it to like it was so damn small I couldn't even like pick it off the arrange page on Ableton. And I layered about 60 of the little samples right next to each other to like make that the bare sound, and
Yeah.
it was just one of those random things. You just think of an idea and like just put it down and it gives you the most random sound that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. So when you were
Get on with
making
it.
that track, did you make it with that remix in mind, or was it a track that you'd made and you thought it would fit that?
um well, to build this, I had some. Well, I went into one of my old projects. I got like rid of the bass and all of that. I just kept the drums. I chopped out
Mm.
a few different pieces, and I then added in all of the squire bits. It actually took me about 2 hours to make the whole tune.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And so, how did that one go down when it was released?
I haven't actually played it out.
Have you not?
No, I don't really play much of my own stuff. I've not heard anyone play it, and I don't really know how it went down. Really,
Fair enough, man.
the guys that offered me not were like really happy with it. I think it was Dankel that helped me with sorting the overall mix down and all that out, but
Nice.
I didn't really get too much feedback off it.
So if when it comes to your, like, once you've made the track, do you do your mixing and mastering yourself, or do you get it sent off to for someone to do that for you?
Mixing down, I'll quite happily do that myself. I did a little bit on mastering at college, but I'm uh, not too informed on it, so I will uh, I'll send it out to someone. Like the last track that I got mastered was done by Posk.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh. Who else have you used for mastering?
There's Kato. He's really good. He did the last 2-3 downloads that I put out.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty meaty as well. His masters are really good.
Your latest release, who was that with? The one with like "See You Later."
Oh, is that Revolution DMB?
I think so, but I remember finding that recently. That's in got quite a few tracks of that EP in my latest mix.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that EP. That EP was
that is
bad boy.
Revolution. Yeah.
That's a really good EP. That.
Funnily enough, one of the tracks I'd made like a really sick synth before, and I come back to the project, and Massive just decided to have a fit and like completely erase the space, and I didn't save it either, so I had to remake it. And the guy who runs Revolution, he was listening back to it, and he's like, "Fucking pitch it down an octave." And listen back to it, and it sounded so damn good.
So
Which
similar to what happened with us earlier, then.
I think it was "See You Later" actually.
So I used to have an issue with. Have you ever heard of Tone 2 Gladiator? It's a synth that Tone 2 brought out quite a few years ago. I used to. This is when I was making bassline. I'd make the sound. I'd get it all done, but every time that I'd export the track, it would reset Gladiator. Like every single time. Oh mate, it was so frustrating. Anyway, this is a bootleg by Pandi. It is a Punjabi MC bootleg. So let's jump on it.
Of this morning's labour.
Let's see if we can get it sounding better. That should do it. Is that better?
Yeah, I'll stick on it. Oh, there it is.
Such a joke sample there.
Yeah, this one I grabbed the sample and like, well, I'll let it play out first.
Is that a cheeky little cowbell I can hear?
Yeah, of course.
Love it.
Needs more cowbell, though.
Needs more cowbell. We won't give them too much.
Yeah.
I really like that. Really like that. Your drums on that are sick. And as we just mentioned, needs more cowbell.
No, I don't think there's enough there.
I think there is. Yeah,
actually does stick out like maybe a little bit too much, but
I think it adds a nice little groove to it, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely saying this is. You can tell the difference just by listening to like that Squire track that I did, and then this one, like the difference in how much I've actually been thinking about what I've been doing over the last like couple months when it comes to music. Because when I started, I was just chucking loads of samples together. I wasn't thinking about like arrangement or whatever. I was just thinking, oh yeah, this sounds pretty good. And if it sounded good to me, then that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
But now I'm listening to other people's productions. I'm like taking ideas, and
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you obviously you want to make what you enjoy, but at the same time you want to make it listenable for other people. So it's kind of trying to find that happy medium, isn't it?
yeah, it's a bit
So
of a pain.
let's just hang on. We'll stop sharing for a second, and just want to talk about your I just want to give like your social links and all that kind of stuff. So just bear with me two
Yeah,
seconds.
go for it.
So I just want to make sure. Okay, so we've got your Facebook page open. Do you use it very often?
What, the Pandi one?
Yeah.
No.
No. What are you
See that?
using for your socials and in terms of like sharing music and stuff like that?
Whenever I just whenever I do put a tune out, I just give it a shout on like my personal Facebook. I do use the page like every now and again. It probably hasn't been posted on for like a year or so now, but
The last few posts are live streams. Are they something that you've stopped doing? Are they something that you're considering starting again?
right. I did have a DDJ 400 controller that I was using, but I
Okay.
sold it so I could get a pair of CDJ 350s.
Okay.
Yeah, and currently I don't have an audio interface, so I can get the audio from my mixer back into my laptop. So
Yeah.
it's just unless I want to do like a phone stream with like
Yeah.
Instagram or whatever, then there's not really much I can do.
Yeah.
Plus, you can't get a decent camera angle in here anyway.
Can you not?
No.
So do you find yourself mixing like a lot at the moment?
Well, before lockdown, I'd like try and get on the decks as much as possible. And over the last like month or two, they've been used about 3 times,
Oh, okay. Fair enough, man.
including. I had a bit of a jam last night though, and
Yeah.
it was pretty groovy.
I had a DDJRB for pretty much the whole of the last few lockdowns. But I sold that a couple of months ago. Got an electric guitar instead.
Uh, One of the reasons why I was a bit late today is because I went out to get a cable so I could connect those CDJs to my laptop, and I've got Record Box DJ on my laptop, so I can plug each CDJ into my laptop, and it'll read what decks what, and I can play tunes straight off my laptop rather than using USB.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and if I had a Pioneer mixer as well, then I'd be able to record straight off the mixer, but I don't.
One day, mate. One day.
Yeah, beggars can be bloody choosers, can they?
Indeed. So, should we just do a quick little shout out section? Is there anyone in particular that you feel has been like really important to Pandi's progression?
Well, Ben that we were touching on earlier. If it wasn't for Ben, I would not be a part of Wonky Goose whatsoever. Ben
So that's
was,
Ben Barker for anyone that doesn't know. Libra.
yeah, Ben Barker. He was one of my first followers on SoundCloud,
Nice.
and when Dylan started Wonky Goose, Dylan Poor, for anyone wondering,
Yeah.
and went up to him and said, "Get Pandi's Facebook," and he's like, "Do you want to come and play this night in Bristol?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go on then." Got into touch with Dylan, and that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Basically,
He also did your logo, didn't he?
Oh yeah, and he did a really cool logo. He did that banner on my SoundCloud as well.
Yeah, definitely
Really
get at Ben for any graphic design needs. He is an absolute boss.
Yeah, couple other shout outs would be Ollie Bowers, Corbex from Revolution DMB. He's given me so many sets at Factory. You just be like, holy shit.
Yeah, right. It's important to have those people that like give you an opportunity.
Yeah. Another two would be Rich Hutchins and Tom Costello.
Okay.
Tom is the owner of Factory, who initially wanted me to have the residency, and Rich has also been giving me sets and getting me into the club doing bits. And it's been a really enjoyable time. I can't thank those guys enough for getting me in there to play, even though they could see that I was like being a bit too messy.
Yeah. It's important to notice people's potential there, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, I don't want to touch on, mental health too much, but we will touch on it quickly. It's important to notice people's potential, because the amount of people who, I know who have got the maddest potential, but there's things in their life that are affecting it, whether that's mental health, whether that's drug abuse, whether that's whatever it is. But it's important to have those people that can like drag you out of that to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like to touch on just before we wrap up?
I'm not sure really.
No, no, that's cool. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Just quickly, who, if you could describe your music in one sentence.
Shit.
Succinct, I like it.
One sentence about my music. I don't know. It's a bit of a concoction between like drum and bass, jungle, and there is a little bit of bassline influence in there as well. But I try and have a bit of everything in there.
Cool, man.
So I'm trying to be an all-rounder, but sticking to D&B, bringing all the outside to one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Anyway, I think that's I think we can wrap up now. So just want to say thank you to Pandi for joining us. I've been BassPush. I've been BassPush. He's been Pandi. This is the Wub magazine, an online magazine based in Bristol, covering everything underground. So hope you all have a lovely day, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Hey, cheers for having us. Bye bye.